All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this late night, Sunday night edition of Knicks Weekly. CP the Fanchise, Alex Trataros, JD Sports Talk. We got the holy trinity of Knicks Fan TV in the building for good reason. Because yesterday was a big day in Knicks Fan TV history. You know, there was a lot of trash talk going around. There was a lot of bravado going around in this Knicks Twitter Day tournament. 8 teams went in and 1 team came out victorious. And that was Team Knicks Fan TV, man. The people wanted a post-game show. We're going to give them a post-game show. So that's on tap for tonight. Plus, Gershon Yabusele has done the Knicks a solid in terms of their free agency quest. So who will get the last vet minimum contract, man? We're going to give you some of our options for the vet min deal. And, yeah, man, let's have a good time, man. Lock in, hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. Late night show. Let's get into it, man. Let's get right into it, man. All right, fellas, we'll save the post game for the second half. Let's get into the Knicks, man. Let's talk Knicks business for right now because Gershon Yabusele did something that the Knicks needed him to do in order to keep this whole free agency thing going, and that is take a little bit less on the taxpayer mid-level exception. So the starting salary, this is according to Bobby Marks, shout out to our guy Bobby Marks, the starting salary for Gershon Yabusele is going to be $5.5 million with the player options for year 2. So basically what that does, it allows the Knicks to get another vet minimum contract under their belt. So, you know, the Clarkson deal has not been finalized just yet, but as we know, Jordan Clarkson does intend to sign with the Knicks. You got Gershon Yabusele in tow. So, Al, I'll start with you, man. Who is, who's some of the guys that you're thinking about with this vet minimum deal if the Knicks choose to use it?
I think one guy that I'm looking at in particular is Malcolm Brogdon. I think just you want some of that veteran experience, especially at the guard position. With Yabusele, you solidify that big backup. I mean, you got Hook Porty back in there. Obviously, you know your starter is Cat. You got Mitchell Robinson. Mentioned Yabusele. So now you got what to me is like a good, solid, big crew, especially with Yabusele, who can play some small ball 5 with that physicality, right? And you got some good driving and good 3-point shooting from him as well. I think you got to look more on the periphery at this point. Somebody who can play that guard wing position. I think someone like Brogden, to me, would help just with being on the bench, giving that experience, someone who's seen a lot, who's been part of playoff basketball before. He's been on 2 teams, that being the Trailblazers and the Wizards, that weren't so great. I'm sure he wants to be in a winning environment right now. I'm sure he'd be rejuvenated if he joined the Knicks and want to compete. You got to think, even though with his injury history, didn't really play much these last 2 years, so he might have a little bit left in the tank. I wouldn't expect him to get major minutes, but if you're looking for what PJ Tucker was, break glass in case of emergency, just because you need somebody to relieve Brunson or Clarkson because those guys are injured, I do like the idea of Brogdon on this team.
JD, what are you thinking, man?
Yeah, Brogdon is Brogdon is also an example of what you have left. There's not much left in the market because I would like to get more athletic, but Brogdon would still be a solid choice. Do you consider a Chris Paul? It looks like Chris Paul might still be looking for a starter's role, and I think he even announced that he's going to retire after this season. So that doesn't look like it can be an option. You saw that it was reported that they checked in on Ben Simmons. So when you look at players like that they're looking at, because of the way their roster is right now, if this is indeed the roster that it's going to be, or more than likely, then I can understand why they would look at a Ben Simmons. You're looking at down the bench and, hey, can we get a 6'10" forward that can play 3 positions and see what could happen throughout the season? Won't have that pressure. Another guy, because of Mike Brown, is maybe Trey Lyles. He shot 35% from 3. Is a guy that played well under Mike Brown. I know you just got Yabusele, but that's why it's tricky with the composition of the roster. Or Delon Wright. Delon Wright is another option. When it all fails, just bring back the guy that, was already there for you and already built chemistry with the team, played playoff minutes with you, and understands his role. He won't be disappointed if he doesn't play minutes. And that's where this whole veteran minimums thing is tricky, because if you say Westbrook, you would think Westbrook would want to roll. Even a Ben Simmons, I don't know where he's at mentally, but you would think his representatives would want a 28-year-old to get some minutes. So it's just interesting. That's why Brogden is an interesting choice, because I can see Brogden with the injury history. It may benefit him to be in a role where you're spot playing and you're gonna play at the end of the bench, and just build yourself up. Maybe second half of a season, your minutes increase.
Yeah, I still see two weaknesses with this team, even with Yabusele, and let's say they do go get Clarkson. I still think the backup point guard spot is empty right now. And we need depth at the wing. Like, if Dadier is not a for sure thing in his second year, and I don't want to put a lot on him to be. I'd like to be surprised by his development, starting with Summer League this coming week, this Friday, in the Knicks' first game. But I still think they need wing depth, man. You need wing depth behind OG and behind Bridges. Who's your next wing? It is Dadier, right? Like, you could even make a case that Precious, to a certain extent, was able to be like your next versatile wing-ish, bigger wing off of the bench. Right now, I don't see it. So, like, Ben Simmons, man. I don't trust no Ben Simmons, man. I don't trust Ben Simmons, bro. And I don't want too many zeros on the offensive side of the ball, especially when it comes to shooting. I like the size. I like the athleticism potential and the versatility potential. But Ben Simmons, to me, that's us wishing on a well that he becomes half of who he used to be. I just don't see it other than the name and potential. We need a sure thing, or close to a sure thing. And so, it's tough, man. Like, where do we go first? Do we look at the backup point first? If we do, certainly it's a Brogden. Like, you need a steady hand. Is Mike Brown going to go into this season with all the pressure with no true backup point guard off the bench? Are you going to run Deuce as the backup point? Are you going to run Hart in certain sense, respects as a backup point, potentially, if you start Deuce? I don't know if they could do that. Like, I would definitely look the Brogden direction first, but wing depth is next on the list, man. Like, is it an Amir Coffey? He's 28 years old. You get some athleticism there. You get some youth. You get some energy. 6'7", shot close to 40% from three. He's still out there. Is it a guy like a Kessler Edwards? He might be lower on their priority list. JD mentioned Trey Lyles. I'll pull up a couple more guys at the wing spot.
Your guy would have been a good choice.
Who's that?
The guy that signed the two-way. Jabari Walker.
Bro, how did Philly got Jabari Walker on a two-way deal, bro? Crazy. 22 years old.
Literally, if you look at it, what he gave Portland this past season, that would be a successful season for Dadier. Like, if Dadier gave you that output from three, that right there would be gold.
Yeah.
And they got him on a two-way.
Would you want somebody like a Patty Mills
on
your team? All right.
Nah, he's done. Forget him.
Would you want Kyle Lowry?
No. Washed.
I'm just going down some of the point guard depth that we got left on the free agent market.
Would you take a flyer on shot 39% from three last season, Bones Highland?
No. Is this not the moment for him?
How about...
We need somebody steady and mature.
How about Alec Burks? Would you give him another?
Nah. We got to close the Burks hive, man. Close the Burks hive. We need a legit... Brogden is more of a two-ish as well. But we like, when you look at what McConnell did to us last year, man, like, we need a steady playmaker off that bench. Get Clarkson to rock. And this is the thing, too. It's like, you go get a point guard. What does that do to Deuce?
Would you go after Markelle Fultz?
Chris Boucher will be interesting.
Chris Boucher would be interesting. Fultz, I don't know, man. Options.
Hey man, this is the free agent market that we're talking about.
Free agent market.
Chris
man.
Boucher is like Precious Achua, but 36% from three.
Right. Yeah, Boucher would be interesting.
Aaron Holiday.
I'd take a flyer on him.
All right.
I'd take a flyer on him.
Interesting.
They need something. It's not to say again, you're gonna have people in the chat, man. We got Kolek. Yo, you have championship caliber expectations. It doesn't mean that Kolek can't get to that next step, but you need somebody right off the rip to be able to come in, carry out the coach's instructions, no hesitation, and be ready to run. I got to see what's up with Brogden. And the thing is, man, nobody's getting signed like that, man. You got a ton of free agents out there right now. We got to see what Brogdon's market is looking like and what Amir Coffey's free market is looking like. Nobody's getting paid.
Fultz interests me, but I feel like he'd want a large role if he came to the Knicks. That's the only thing. And when you go down the names that you already have, we already know who this. Let's even just run it back with last year's starting five. Even though we know as a lineup, it's a net negative. That means you got Mitch,
Yeah,
Clarkson, Yabusele, and McBride. That's 4 players right there.
right.
That's 9. So we got 9.
That's 9.
This is where it's getting a little tricky, man. Where I think if you're looking at like minutes, and we know how it was when the year we got Dante, we had Grimes, we had Quickly, and we know we started that season. Guys weren't getting more than like 22, 25 minutes. And we know the report that came out with Tibbs. A lot of guys were frustrated. Now, Mike Brown is a guy that's capable of running a 10-deep bench, right? Or lineup, I should say. But you don't want to create that friction in the locker room where you have guys who have proven themselves in the league that deserve minutes and that are frustrated that they're not getting minutes when they may have been told one thing during the offseason and something completely different changes once they sign here. And when I'm looking at I think this is kind of why I'm leaning towards the Brogdon, where he could be the 10th guy, and if he plays, man, he plays. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And he's had those nights where he can be an initiator, where he can be the lead guard, and he can play off ball, man. That's why I'm like, of all the guys, he has the most experience.
Can play off ball.
And he can do both of those things, man. That's why I feel like, for me, that's the best option. And look, you could even sell to him, you don't need to play that much. A lot of these guys that we're listing off here, except maybe Aaron Holiday, they're going to look to play.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you guys think in the chat, man? What do you guys think? Call us up on the Discord. We got almost 1,000 people in here on the check-in. Late night, Knicks Weekly. We are combing through the NBA for vet minimum contracts. Is it a point guard? Is it a wing? I like the Delon Wright option. I do like the Delon Wright option.
I had read somewhere, but I don't want to. I have no idea. This is not information we received or anything. I'm just not recounting if it was like real. But I saw a tweet somewhere where the Knicks may have interest in Gary Payton.
GP2?
GP2. What do you think about that?
Scrapper.
And I mean, that falls in line with, because if you add his name to the couple of names we've already heard, even before the Clarkson signing, it seems like they're interested in getting either another guard or a wing with this last option. So, Gary Payton falls in line with those characteristics in terms of a gritty guy. He's athletic. He can dunk. He can run. Toughness. He can jump. He can defend. Toughness. Has the bloodlines. Been a part of the culture in Golden State. And playing with Draymond Green, having those defensive expectations. So he would be an interesting choice. He's like in the Delon Wright mold a little bit, but more, I guess, with a little bit more attitude on the court, if you will, in terms of expression. Delon Wright is more of a quiet assassin. Gary Payton is a little bit more of a trash talker.
Yeah, that's true. We do need a good quality backup, as TM said. For Brunson. So is it Gary Payton II? CP3, I think he's going to stay out west. CP3 is definitely going to stay out west. Probably closer to LA. Corey Joseph. Is it Brody? You know, is Brody still an option? Like, of like the Patty Mills, Lowry, like much older camp, I would go Brody over those three, over those other two. Definitely.
If not, just bring back Campaign.
No. God, no. Like, you know, you want experience. Hey.
And not a Chuck.
Oh, man. Well, then Brody's not your guy. But I'm saying, though, like, you know, do you just go get Brody? Anthony Parasol. Do they make a splash with Bradley Beal?
How about that? Would you do that?
How could you not? You would have to try it out. Like, is Miami? Is he still dead set on getting to Miami?
Wow, I can't believe CP is willing to give.
You got to try it out, bro. You got to try it out.
You usually shy away from players that just went to somewhere and then torpedoed an experience. You usually try to you get a little shook.
Well, I feel like our team is much more balanced than what the Suns tried to do. They threw the shit at the wall to see what was going to stick. We have a little bit more balance here. That could be your starting two guard.
I was about to ask you. So, what role would you look to have for Beal? Because it's already a transition enough for him. He's beginning a little bit of a 6-man role into his career. This vet option is more of a down the line, down the bench. But if you sign him, he might have to jump some people forward in the rotation.
Yeah. I would take a shot at it. That's your starting two guard right there, bro. You know what I mean? That's your starting two guard right there. Takes the pressure off Mikal. You could do your Mikal thing, your 15 points.
Hold on, then what's your starting five? It's already hard enough. We're talking about Josh Hart.
Here we go. Now you put CP on the spot.
Someone else.
Now look, I'm putting Beal in there with the wings.
All right.
Man, that's a brutal. I don't know. That's tough, man. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it.
He just realized he had to put his guy.
You got to do
guy.
it.
He don't even want to say the name. He's like, wait, hold on.
Yeah. No, you got to. You still got to try it out, bro. It's still worth the risk on a vet min deal. You got to try it. You got to swing on that.
So then, what are you going, CP? Is it who's on the bench? Bridges is on the bench then?
No, I'm putting Mitch on the bench.
You putting Mitch on the bench?
Yeah, but I'm being versatile with it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm being versatile with it. So starting is what it is, but closing, I'm still getting block nets monster minutes in there, and one of those guys are gonna have to sit between Beal, Bridges. One of them gonna have to sit in pressure moments. You know what I mean? I don't mind starting Cat.
That defense is gonna look atrocious.
It's gonna be looking problematic.
The Ole defense is what we're gonna be called,
problematic.
Man. We better put up 130, 140 points on a regular.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Brown already did it in Sacramento, and you would think this is better personnel if you get Beal.
Yeah,
so 1,000%.
He could do. He might be able to do it again with that personnel. And
Marvin
if you have
Smith
the number
in the
one
chat
offense,
says you sign Bill, you don't need Clarkson.
How about this? Make it even more. Let's say you did get Beal, right? What if Mike Brown, after being Golden State, what if he treats Mikal Bridges like Andre Iguodala and have him come off the bench and be that firepower? I think that's tough. That would be a tough team to.
He'd probably ask for a trade
with,
in the middle of a contract. Yeah, you go put him on the bench. That'd be tough, bro.
But hey, I mean, look, he just said, what was that podcast where he was out in Brooklyn? Iggy was on that show. What was it with Evan Turner's like?
Evan Turner.
Bridges, you're the better player in New York than Brunson. I mean, all right, man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he is. All right, it's Brunson over Bridges as who's the better player. But if you want, you just spoke to Iggy. Iggy had a hard time transitioning from being a starter to being a bench player when Kerr went out to Golden State.
Right.
And explained the significance of him coming off the bench and how important he is as being an initiator, being a scorer, being a defensive threat. And I feel like Bridges, if he accepted that, could thrive in that role, like Andre Iguodala. If that's an if you get Bradley Beal on this team, I feel like that's an easy sell, man. Because even Iggy got a lot of minutes when he was out in Golden State coming off the bench. I feel like that's the way you'd have to sell it to him, saying, "Hey, you're still gonna get a lot of minutes, man.
Yeah.
You're still gonna run with this team, but we'll get that crazy impact
Off the bench.
if you came off the bench."
Yeah. Or bring Beal off the bench, man. So I'm like, yo, you got to sacrifice, bro.
Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. What would you prioritize? Are you prioritizing the point or are you prioritizing the wing? What's more important for this team?
I think you get a little bit of point out of Clarkson. I think you can get a little bit of point out. Like, once again, if we go with Brogdon, throwing the Beal thing out the window, I feel like you can get it could be by committee. I don't see a true point unless you go with one of the, like a Patty Mills or Kyle Lowry. I just don't see it
brutal.
with this free agent market. So, or unless Tyler Kolek decides to, really ramp it up the season and show that he has that capability to run the second unit. But I think it's got to be by committee, man.
I think it has to. It's just difficult because it's like, okay, you can say the team technically would benefit from another shot creator, whether it's at the wing or the guard, just someone that can get to the paint and create a little bit of misdirection and chaos to create, just to ease some of the pressure off of Jalen Brunson. When we're talking about playoff basketball now, during the season, we've already seen it. We've gotten away with it. Many teams do. Like people talk about shot creation as if elite one-on-one offensive players are everywhere. There's not. You look at a lot of rosters, you see one guy and everyone else is just complementary players. Right? You don't have many OKCs where you have Jalen Williams and Shai, and they can both isolate, they can both get to the rim, they can both create a shot. Not many teams have that characteristic. So I could say that the Knicks need another shot creator, even with Jordan Clarkson there off the bench. Another one wouldn't hurt. And Jordan Clarkson's a little bit inconsistent. So, but then who is it? Like, that's the problem with certain qualities in the league is they're not always readily available, and if they are, they're the most sought after players.
Probably why you got to go out to Brogden first, right? And then you hope that Dottie can help. I don't know if Beauchamp is eligible for another two-way, but like when you think about thin rosters and taking a swing, they gotta find it. Like, keep this kid. If they can get him on a two-way, get him back on one of the 3 two-ways. Get Marjon Beauchamp in here and get him some playing time.
And the other thing I'll say is I continue to be skeptical on Kolek's role with this team because look at the continued reported interest. They got Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
They checked in on Westbrook. They're checking in on Ben Simmons. Like, where do you think, like, where are the Kolek minutes going to come from if they sign a Ben Simmons tomorrow?
Right.
With Clarkson, with Deuce.
It's not playing.
Like, and because I think the challenge with Kolek here in year 2, and it's still early in his career, is it's the same thing that happened, I think, at the head coaching arena, where Johnny Bryant was the kind of popular name around the community, but the Knicks seem to be in a different timeline than going that route. As you saw, they preferred more of the guy that they just feel could just be ready now instead of going with someone that you may have to go through growing pains. Like, not everybody comes in year 1 is going to win 60 games. It's going to have finals expectations. I think it's the same thing here with Kolek, where it's early in his career. He still has time. But for this year, after Leon Rose put that statement out,
right, it's different.
Like, are we expecting all 4 guys, McCullough, Kolek, Hukporti, and Dadier, all 4 to be in a playoff rotation?
Right.
After the president just said, singular, like, focus is a championship. After that statement, they just verified that statement with the hiring.
Yeah, that's
why
he's not getting the reins, bro. You're going to have to earn that. It don't mean you're not going to play at all. It just means this is a pressure cooker right now.
And I think he will play in the season because I think the season with this coach, I think everyone will have an opportunity during the season.
Right.
Not with Tiz, with this coach. However, I think the front office is showing you we're past thinking about roster construction for the season. We're interested in roster construction for the playoffs. Is Kolek going to be able, during an 82-game season where everybody's not playing as, it's not that people are not playing defense, CP. It's just that the game planning is not as strategic, is not as polished when teams are playing one team the next day, another team the next every other day. Where in the playoffs, they're just game planning for you and your weaknesses. Is Kolek's inability to create, is that going to give a problem in the playoffs where they're playing tighter defense, they're being physical on him? All that nice passing, pick and roll play,
right?
Alley-oops, that's going to be great during the season. I don't know that the front office trusts his skill set yet for playoff basketball,
right,
which is where this franchise is at this moment.
With that expectation that Leon put out there, you could say it wasn't just a statement for the front office and the team, because when you say that your singular focus is winning, it puts the pressure on the players as well. You got to go out there and compete next season too. Everyone who's sticking around, we can't have anyone slacking off, right? And even with that type of work, even that type of usage of words, you could say that the young guys, they got to look into that too, saying, hey, if you want to earn some minutes, if you want to make yourselves known in the NBA, whether it's being a role player, you got to put in that work this offseason and get ready for it. And so this could be a wake-up call to all the young players saying, hey, if you want to be if you want to be that 10th guy, all right, you got to put in the work this offseason. So could be something that Kolek say, hey, maybe Kolek does see those words. He does take that personally. He says, you know what? I want to be that point guard. I want to be that 10th guy in that rotation. Let me get to work this offseason. Let me work on my offensive game because my passing and everything else is okay. Let me work on my defense too. Who knows? I'm not saying he's good. It's guaranteed that he can do that, but I think with that type of stuff, there's got to be a little bit of room too, and that's where you use that 82-game regular season to evaluate, is this guy actually taking the next steps? And that's where you hope that Mike Brown gives him more minutes. If he's making the right plays, making the right reads, hopefully he can translate to something like that. Because if you're looking for a true point guard, unless this team's got something that they're planning 10 steps ahead for the by the trade deadline, I just don't see it. So to answer your question, CP, I feel like you got to be able to get combo guards and wings that can fit that role.
Yeah, well, I mean, B-Lo in the chat says that's even more reason to sign Ben Simmons. Check some boxes, right?
No, I'm not as like you guys seem to be oh my God, no, at the first thought of his name. I'm not there. I'm in the middle. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind just seeing, but yeah, I'm in the middle. You guys are more the Simmons doesn't even finish. You're like, no.
Nah,
I'm more okay, bro. Finish his name. Let me think about it. Maybe not, but I at least think about it. He at least got me thinking, and that's what happens with GMs in sports. That's why sometimes many of them get fired, is because of my reaction. The Cam Reddish, the guys that have the measurables, the height, the tools, the talent, and these are the guys that continue to get chance after chance after chance, because one thing that never leaves, it will never leave for Ben Simmons, is he's 28 years old, he's 6'10", 6'11", and he was once an elite 1 through 4, 1 through 5 defender, and that alone is going to give him a chance in this league.
Yeah. Claude Vendora says, for the vet men, that's low risk. TM, let's put that in the chat, man. Let's see what the people got to say. Where are the people on Ben Simmons? Are you for it? Are you against it? I mean, based on what we just discussed, that might be the best option right now. Shout out to Kareem Alston Rosales, Fanchise channel member, $10 super chat. Says, run it back with Delon and Shamet. Gives us some continuity, some good vibes. Culture might give us some culture intangibles. Okay, well, right now it's probably one or the other. So if they do go that route. So you would have to make that choice. But shout out to Kareem on the super chat. Shout out to Mark, Fanchise channel member. Shout out to Hospi as well, man. Also join the Fanchise channel memberships. We also got a $10 super chat from Brandon Williams. Says Ben Simmons covers the boxes we need checked. He brings playmaking, defensive versatility. You can play him at the 1, the 3, the 4, the 5. Okay, so Brandon Williams says absolutely go get Ben Simmons. Shout out to our son from Brooklyn, Fanchise channel member as well, says peace to CP, Alex, and JD. I think the Knicks need a reliable secondary ball handler, pause, to back up Brunson. What do y'all think? Yeah, look, I think that is probably the most critical of needs right now. And then again, you try out a Dadier. Can Beauchamp come up on a two-way? Is Diawara going to stay? Does he come up and just get some situational defensive minutes? But the backup point is going to be very important. I don't think you can go in there with the Deuce, or if they do bring in a Clarkson, I don't think you can go with those options as your backup point.
So then where are the minutes?
Right, that's what I said. Where are the minutes?
But that's why I think right now it's probably Clarkson bringing the ball up with the bench unit.
That's brutal, bro.
I think right now I think Clarkson is the backup. Like, it's funny because depth chart wise we're saying backup point guard, but I think when they're out there playing, it's like you're just bringing the ball up. Like, he's like the combo within the system. And I don't know how, if with his skill set, if he excels on the Mike Brown, depends how valuable it truly is. And that's why I think the Delon Wright, I don't know if he's a fit, because it's interesting. Delon Wright was played well under Tibbs, but it was Tibbs' system, gritty, isolation heavy sometimes, so you can hide him on offense. And even that, you saw a few moments, the three-point shot found him. He didn't really connect on those. And he can excel under a Tibbs system. I don't know how that works under a Mike Brown system, especially offensively, if there's going to be a lot of ball movement and player movement. Is he a fit within that style? And so that's where it becomes interesting in terms of what his role will be, or if there's any interest, because there's a new head coach and his offensive deficiencies might not be suitable for the system. And if we're talking about maximizing the system and all that, then, I think with this veteran minimum, they're going to look to see if there's someone that can fit in this system. So it's going to be interesting, because right now I would say Jordan Clarkson's bringing the ball up with the bench unit.
If I am to hopefully calm your guys' nerves with Jordan Clarkson being that lead initiator, looking at cleaning the glass, just looking at his offensive overview, right? He had a high usage rate in Utah the last 3 seasons. And, we're talking about 22-23 was in the 92nd percentile in usage, 23-24, 96th percentile, 24-25, 95th percentile. His assist percentage, like respectively following those years, 63rd percentile, 95th percentile, 77th percentile. And we're talking about a guy who's averaging over 21% assist percentage. So he can do it. He has averaged 4 or 5 assists per game. It's not that he's incapable of doing it. But I think to your guys' point, it's his erratic nature when he's out there leading the second unit. But I will say, I feel like he could be, I think we may be underselling his capability of finding his teammates. And if we're looking at Mike Brown and what he did to Malik Monk, he may be able to get him on track and to really hone in and be a better facilitator.
That's fair. That's fair. So I was saying, let's potentially give Jordan Clarkson a chance if and when he finalizes his deal with the Knicks. Shout out to EC $5 Super Chat. Says Brunson, Beal, OG, Cat, Mitch, McCall, 6-man. I'm good with that. All right, so he's putting his hat in the Bradley Beal ring. Let's see who wins the Bradley Beal sweepstakes. So to everybody in the chat, once again, man, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Hey, for all you people headed out to NBA Summer League, Summer League is starting up this Friday in terms of the Knicks. And then Saturday, all roads will lead to the Virgin Hotels in Las Vegas, 4455 Paradise Road, right by the Thomas & Mack Center for our annual Knicks Fan Meetup. This will be hosted by Knicks Fan TV, Knicks Film School, and the good people at Left Coast Knicks. We are going to be doing a live podcast. We'll have DJ by DJ The Shells. He goes by The Shells on YouTube, on Knicks Fan TV YouTube, but also DJ Uncle Mike. So he'll be traveling from LA to be spinning on the ones and twos. We'll have live shows. We'll have a cash bar if you guys want to get your drink on. We'll have Summer League going on the projecting screen. And yeah, it's just going to be vibes, man, as we usually do every year with our annual Knicks Fan Meetup. Just come through, have a vibe with some friends. You can, it's all free. Get your tickets at kftvmeetup.com, or you can go to knicksfantv.com. We just want to make sure you guys are RSVPing so that we know proper head count and know that who we can finalize, all the head count. Just make sure we can account for everybody and give the venue an accurate number. Okay, so that'll be Saturday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, and the venue is called 24 Oxford. It's right inside the Virgin Hotel. DM us on any of our social media platforms or email us, knicksfantv@gmail.com, if you have any questions, man. 24 Oxford at the Virgin Hotel. All right, folks. That's that on the Vetman fiasco. The Knicks are working on their own championship, but we got ours right here. This right here is called the Knicks Twitter Day 2025 Championship. If anybody out there on Knicks Twitter is looking for this, you know where to find us, man. We ain't ducking no challenges. We ain't ducking nobody. The champs are here, the inaugural tournament, and the championship trophy went to the good guys, man, at Knicks Fan TV, man. Fellas, how do you feel, man? Congratulations, man. Job well done. You guys did the damn thing. Salute to the team. Championship here. Order has been restored.
I don't know how you really feel, Al.
Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it, man.
Look, man. I said coming into this thing, I wanted to win, man. I wanted to stomp people out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And we did just that. And I think we did a great job putting this team together. It was beautiful, man. The chemistry was on 1,000. Yeah. All right? Yo, CP, your cousin came out. We all knew the identity was going to be defense.
Defense.
He was a good team leader, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Justin, man. Great team leader. Always in the huddle speaking. Keeping us in check. All right? Came out there, played defense, played solid defense. Everyone accepted their role.
Yeah.
No one was trying to do too much, man.
Everybody
no one
accepted
was trying
their
to
role,
do too
man.
much.
Yeah.
Justin was doing the damn thing. Jimmy coming out there looked like a flamethrower.
Shout out to Jimmy. Yep.
Shout out to JD for reaching out to him.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
We got Brandon Guest out there bullying.
B Guest, KFTV Zone. Shout out to Gio, Big Daddy G.
Gio looking like Leonardo Barbosa, man. The blur out there running around like there's no tomorrow. Shout out to Tommy Beer.
Tommy Beer. Absolutely, man.
Clutch shots, man.
Yeah.
But damn, some of that defense. But yo, man. That's probably the best thing, man. Because nobody was playing defense yesterday, man. Yeah. No one's playing defense like that.
Oh, no, we was playing for keeps. JD bodied about 2-3 people himself. All right, we was playing for keeps out there, man. We playing defense, man. Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Listen, man. All I gotta say is, there was a lot of talking going around. There was a lot of trash talking, a lot of tweets, a lot of video clips. Yeah, everybody looks good when there's no defender in front of you.
All the practice videos was cute and all of that.
And we were getting tagged.
We wasn't into that.
I don't think we responded to one clip at all. To nothing.
I refused. You know what I mean?
Be. But what they didn't know is behind the scenes, we appreciated all the heads up. We liked the video clips. Because I broke them down. I broke them all down. And I'm like, you know what? When I talk to Jimmy, like, Jimmy, that guy right there, this is how we're going to guard him. You guys gave us a little bit too much.
Too much ammo. That's the thing with Knicks Twitter. Everybody doing their yapping. Especially at Thanos. Shout out to Thanos and Tony. Tony, if you're not going to be playing, you can't be yapping. Because your team gotta back it up. You put a lot of pressure on your team, and give credit. We'll give credit where it was due. Tony's team They were a tough out.
They were tough, bro.
They were a tough out.
They were tough.
And the one thing is that, which I think makes this tournament appealing, is that the 5-minute halves,
bro,
you got to get busy quickly. Because if your team is cold, you could be, facing a tough battle. It could be an uphill battle. And if your team is cold, your team is rusty, it could get a little bit dicey. And I think that's what happened to us in that first game, where they were tough. They set the tone physically. You see my man Triple M picking up the first ever Knicks Twitter Day technical foul. He got a little aggravated with JD.
What are you doing to JD, bro? Why are you throwing him on the ground?
Yeah.
That's your boy.
So we had to dispatch Thanos' team first. That got us warmed up. You know what I mean?
Bro, that was like, was like the Knicks playing the Pistons.
Yes.
That's what it was like.
That's exactly right. So, we had a tough matchup, but we took care of them earlier, and that was the first round. So now, second round we had Team Rebecca. Listen, good game by those guys, but it was different levels at this point. At that point, we was on a collision course for the finals. You know what I mean? We had our eyes on the prize. So at that point, we took care of them with relative ease. Then, the third and final matchup, that's what everybody was paying the big money for. It was a collision course. Team Sean, I am possible. Oh, he was talking spicy. Nobody can guard me. My team is this. He had his hand-picked team before the tournament even started. We're not going to say nothing about that. But, hey, he came in there. He came in, and we're not going to say nothing about that. He came in there with their guys. I had my 5 ready for that matchup. For that matchup. The guard play, the shooting, athleticism. We had the veteran experience. And look, they came out the gates very well. First off, they got past a tough, scrappy Knicks film school squad.
Dude,
they were down 8-zip.
They were down 8-zip. Jeff and them had them on the ropes. Shout out to Jeff and Sean W, man. Knicks Film School represented well. Andrew
Claudio, man. Shout out to Claudio, too.
Yeah, shout out to Claudio. They definitely gave him a run for their money. But we were down. We were down by halftime. We was down.
Well, we were down in the third quarter.
Yeah. We was down in the third quarter. But we just kept chipping away, man. Like, I felt like our defense was solid. We had a lot of mistakes, a lot of self-inflicted wounds, as they say. But once we cleaned that up, then it was showtime. You know what I mean? Double overtime.
First inaugural Knicks Twitter Day. It goes into double overtime.
Yeah.
CP plays the first overtime, then makes a substitution.
Yeah. Our rotations was on the money. Our rotations was on the money. I was in there managing the minutes. You know what I'm saying? The rotations were spot on.
Hold on. Wait. What I don't understand, all right? This is what I do not understand.
Yeah.
We had the first overtime 2 minutes. They were about to change it up for second overtime. 1 minute. Wait a minute. 1 minute.
Yeah, then they were trying to go sudden death. Commissioner Stiller and Kaz, they was talking about sudden death. I'm like, nah, we can't do sudden death, bro. We can't do that. Every team needs the opportunity to have a full couple minutes. Can't do sudden death, man. That would have ended badly. That would have put a stain on the tournament. We needed our time to get it right. And in double OT, that's when we ran away with the game. You know what I'm saying? But let's talk about some of the highlights of that game, man. I pulled up some of the highlights, man. First off, I gotta go with Sports Talk. Attacking the closeout like a beast with the runner off the glass. JD, talk about that play right there, man. Talk about that play. I'm pulling it up right now, man. Ran the floor very well. Attacked the closeout. He tried to close out on the three quite aggressively. That was a great counter by you, bro. Talk about it, bro. Break down that play, man.
Is that the clutch, the
Yes.
offensive or defensive? The offensive one?
I played the offensive one. I'm about to pull up the defense into offense.
All right, offensive one. Nah, listen, basically at that point we're up 2, so once Justin had the ball, he's in transition. I'm like, okay, let me get to this corner. Usually that corner is when they fall asleep on you and they focus more on the ball handler.
Yeah.
And then once I got the ball, I was like, okay, either I'm going to pull from 3. We don't necessarily need the 3. We need an easier bucket. I saw there was only a couple players back, so I said I can either have an attack to the lane or a midi.
Yeah. Forces the
that's what it
turnover. Forces a turnover on, who's that, Jay Nicky? Who's that?
Jay Nicky, man.
Let's get some game audio in here. Gets physical. Yeah. Oh, and our pick and roll coverages were spot on.
Yeah.
Spot
You
on.
see right there, you see the rotation.
Yeah.
And boom, right there off the
Jay
screen.
Nicky caught that up.
You
Jay
saw
Nick-
the awareness,
and-
beat him
and-
to the spot.
And hold up, and Jay Nicky's talking about he's Knicks Twitter Day all defense. And
How
we
can you
just
be all
show
defense when you lose?
a quintessential highlight in overtime, a clutch moment, and he coughs the ball up.
Yeah.
Jay Nicky, get you some Robitussin. All defense is right here with Sports Talk.
Listen, man. All I got to say is, from a defensive standpoint, that's a strength.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many out there that play. 'Cause
Yeah.
I feel like I can guard pretty much anyone out there. So,
Yeah.
and I thought I showed it.
Absolutely. Sean hit the deck. Yeah, Sean hit the deck a couple times.
Bro.
Sean, you got to eat your Wheaties, man. Come on, man.
JD
You know what I'm saying?
closed out. Sean was trying to get around the corner.
Yeah.
Bounced Sean right back.
Yeah.
Caused Sean to go back past half court.
100%.
Turnover.
100%.
That's one of the strengths of like that allows me to play defense is my strength. So
Yeah.
I'm able to play pick and roll. I'm able to play the screen and even in one-on-one. Like,
Absolutely.
right there.
Al, what were some of your shining moments, man? Let's talk about it, man.
I'd say like for that second half, man, go out there where we couldn't get a bucket. I go get a driving layup, man.
Yeah.
Just start going downhill.
That
Go
was a
Josh
big
Hart,
bucket.
man.
We talked about it. We got to get downhill. We got to get
Yep.
downhill.
Got to get downhill, man.
That was a big bucket.
Yeah.
And then Al hit the free throw. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was not. I think what people don't understand about me is that I'm not afraid to go north to south, man. I played rugby, bro. I don't
that's true.
mix when it
That's
comes
true.
to contact.
That's true.
Right?
You
You
get
don't think I'm
rugged.
crying up here. I'm gonna be afraid of the moment. No, I'll play through contact, man.
Yeah.
You're not gonna scare me by like that. And defensively, people were getting chippy with me. Tony's team, they
Yeah.
didn't like that I was guarding on the perimeter, man. I'm gonna throw my body around.
Nah, we
I'm
was
gonna push.
throwing it around.
I'm gonna make you feel uncomfortable.
100%.
And then people didn't like that. They started shoving me. I don't know if you saw it. I forget who was trying to check me as I was going up court. I'm like, look, man, if you want to get into it, I'll get into it. I'm
Yeah.
not afraid.
100%, man. That's the thing, man. Like, we weren't afraid to get gritty, man. When we first got to the gym, we saw Gio. Gio was like, yo, man, how do you like to play? I said, yo, Gio, man, whatever you need, I got you, man. We're playing gritty out here. We playing for keeps. It wasn't pretty, but it was gritty. That's our motto, man. That's what we live and die
Hold
by,
on.
bro.
That's why I'm wearing this shirt right now.
There we go.
I will say
There we go.
I will say it is pretty funny how this is the first Knicks Twitter event. You got Ben Stiller up there. You have
John
MSG
Commissioner.
up there.
Yeah.
The whole hype and energy of this first time event. And then the platforms are there, the Strickland, Knicks Film School, Knicks Fan TV. And it's just like how we go by number one show for the fans, by the fans. We have that weight on our shoulders.
Yeah.
And then it's like, of course, we also go ahead and win the title on the first event.
It's only
So
right.
like we went in with pressure, but we answered to the pressure.
Yeah. And speaking of pressure.
And we weren't even the favored, if you really want to,
Yeah. Not at all.
I think there was a script.
Yeah.
based on chatter, we weren't considered the favorite.
Yeah. But
I think there was a script, fellas, but we had to ruin it.
yeah.
We had our own script.
But speaking of pressure, it was overtime, man. It was overtime, and we was clawing back. And I was really game time decision for this tournament, man, because my Achilles was really tight. I was a little nervous. We had one player already drop out. I'm not gonna name names. We had one guy. We lost a guy like 3 days before the tournament. He said he couldn't afford to get hurt. So then I'm like, damn, I'm 40. I got to get to summer league. I got vacation plan. I can't be ruining this thing. So I was a little dicey. I called both of you. I said, I don't know.
Yeah, you called me 2 days
did.
before.
I'm
And
gonna
I'm
give
like,
it a game time decision. But once I got in the gym, adrenaline started flowing. I said, we got to do this, man. So I came off the bench. I made sure I sacrificed for the team, managed the rotations accordingly. You can call out the places, do what I had to do. But then in overtime, we were down a bucket.
In slow motion, I hope you play this one, CP.
And Al, this was a great play by you, man. Good heads-up play to get it to my dominant hand. So allow me to get me some momentum to get downhill and get to my go-to move. This was the go-to move, and I feel bad for number 4 on Team's I Am Possible because he wasn't ready for it. He thought I was just going to give it up and keep the play. No. Meet me at the rim. That's what I told this young man. Meet me at the rim. Because those 40-year-old wheels were still running. Straight to the hoop with a sweeping lefty hook. Off the glass.
Gets the and one.
Crowd went wild. I didn't get the call. You know, I didn't complain about it. I was ready to get back on defense.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
We got to talk about that too.
Yeah.
All right. I see complaining about
to
fouls.
the Baja.
Yeah.
To the Baja.
Yeah. Straight to the cup, man. Meet me at the rim. That's what I told Buddy,
And
man.
the funny thing is, like, after the shot, CP walked back like it's nothing. Like, he does this.
That's what I do, man.
This is what we. There's something that people don't know, man. We had all of our kids there. All of our kids showed up. Old man father strength is a thing. All right.
Oh yeah. I blew somebody up on a screen too. I freed up G. I gave Gio daylights.
Yep.
I blew somebody up into the backcourt. Some old man strength. My man didn't know I was coming like that, and they didn't call nothing out. I blew him up. Like an old lineman off the line. Pancake somebody. Poor fella, you might be watching. I'm sorry, man. I got to do what I got to do for my team. You know what I'm saying?
That was tough, though.
Yeah.
Well, we needed something. That was tough.
Yeah, that's what I had to do for y'all, man. You know, it was just one of those things. Everybody was chipping in, doing their thing. I got to the free throw line. Shout out to Jimmy. Jimmy found me on the pick and roll. Cut to the basket. I didn't convert the and one, but I went 1 for 2. You know,
And
took
this
my
is
time
where
and got it going. Got it.
And CP's out there talking to the refs.
Yeah.
Because we weren't getting calls, man. Look, I truly felt like the New York Knicks out there, man.
Yeah.
We played physical. My guy Brandon was getting mauled out there. My man was an absolute unit in the paint.
Yeah.
First of all, hold on. We got to talk about that, too, because Brandon had a block of a century.
Shout
like
out
LeBron
to
James.
B-Guest.
Bring that thing on the backboard, all right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
no
sir.
one's talking about that. We need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, shout out
My
to
man was an absolute
B-Guest,
unit in
man.
the paint.
His athleticism was off the charts. And
That was a smooth play.
Yeah,
man. I just saw Al gave you the ball, but then Al quickly got out the way, gave you the real estate, gave you the
great job
the
by
lane.
Al, man. Great job.
And then Al comes back around. He was ready to go for the offensive rebound.
Yeah.
That's awareness right there, man.
Guys,
you
that's
know,
what we do, what we do here, man.
Our floor balance was on point, man. It was really good.
Bro,
really
if you
was.
look at also like the scouting report on our team, bro, like everybody. Tommy B hit a clutch 3. He hit a big 3.
Yeah.
He's a shooter. Everyone brings something different to the table. Jimmy is a sniper. Justin's all around. You know, we got the young gun. We got the prospect.
Yeah,
Gio
they know about Gio, man. They know about Gio.
Gio came out here like a blur, man. I'm telling you. And he had a big 3, okay, at overtime. He had a crucial 3 to take the lead.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gio, man. Big Daddy G, as he goes by on Twitter.
Shout out to
man
Big
was
Daddy
hooping
G,
out there.
Shout out to Big Daddy G, man.
Now let me ask you a question for the next one.
Yeah.
Do you guys think, because now they see who won, and now everybody wants to talk about, they want to get ringers and they want to get prospects and all that. I'm not too down for that type of idea. Me myself, I feel like if you got a roster of 8 players, listen. Everybody wants to make adjustments. You want to bring a baller that's within the if they keep it within the rules of Knicks Twitter, Knicks fan, and all that stuff. You want to get that, fine. I'm cool with that. But I would like to keep the essence of what it is still in play, because I think like people have fun to go out there and see CP shoot the free throws and see like the people they know for the most part. Like that's what makes it fun. Instead of next year, now you have literally like a whole bunch of like AAU teams running because everybody just gets caught up.
Right.
Everybody gets caught up in just wanting to win, and we forget this is all about the community and all of us having fun. So,
but I don't think we're
now the hunted.
Oh, we the hunted. We the hunted.
Sure.
As rightfully so. Rightfully so. You know, rightfully so. We should be.
But I think to your point, JD, we did a good job scouting. We still went through Knicks Twitter. It's not like we brought in guys who aren't part of the Knicks fan base, who don't tune into the shows, who don't tune into other content creators, who are not active in Knicks Twitter world. We brought in guys who are active in Knicks Twitter world. Just because you didn't know who they are doesn't mean that we couldn't go out there and go find them. Or they didn't reach out. We didn't do our due diligence.
Just because we decided to get the ones we wanted within.
That's right.
That, because at the end of the day, Knicks Fan TV is the platform. We gave you us three right here. Right? Like, so we gave you that, and then we went with, our roster construction. Yeah. We gave you Tommy Beer.
That's it.
Like, we had initially, the other players. So we gave you, like, more than half of the team was, like, the main people. And then we got a few other players that was outside of Knicks Fan TV, but is still part of Knicks Fan TV.
Our team was fan square, man. And I'm pulling up the video of me politicking with the referees, man. Shout out to Kyle. They did their best, but I had to fight for my guys, man. We weren't getting the respect that we deserved. They were calling it a little unfairly. That's all I was just looking for fairness. So I went out to center court and just pled my case with the officials. I would say that's one thing that they need to change next year. For if Commissioner Stiller and these guys are listening, get some professional refs in there. You got 100 refs out there from the PALs, from the summer leagues. We need 3 professional referees to call it, not our peers. We can't have referees of our peers for this magnitude. Look at this trophy, man. Throw them all. So it got a little contentious. In the end, a couple, controversial calls and people complaining.
Can we get the whistles to begin the game?
Get them whistles. Get them some whistles. Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about 2 5-minute halves.
Right. It's pressure cooker,
that's
man.
A lot to put on,
Yeah.
Just a volunteer or something like that. Like, it's just a lot of pressure. Because just like there's no margin or slim margin for errors for us, the players, it's also the same thing for the refs. We're all working on the same timeline.
Yeah. Shout out to Dorcosaurus for capturing this. This was the play of the game, man. I am Sean. First play of his team's game.
Bro.
Goes to the rack and absolutely leaves our guy Trippy in chalk with the poster of a lifetime. This one set the tone for the rest of the day. It was incredible. It was incredible,
He put Trippy in a sippy.
In a sippy.
It on him.
Yeah, absolutely insane. So shout out to Sean. He got that one for sure. That was the play to see the series, to play the tournament.
You really had to be there for that moment because gameplay stopped for what felt like damn near 10 minutes.
Yep.
Just to celebrate what we just witnessed on the court because that was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to Sean, man.
That's how I had told him, like, that's how you set the tone, man, after the long wait that we had to start the event. Mm-hmm. That's how you set the tone. They literally stopped, like, they had to stop the game because how electric that was. Damn.
Yeah.
That's one for the books in Knicks Twitter day history.
Yeah, absolutely had to take a time out there. I'm trying to pull up my reaction.
I'll say this though.
Yeah.
Sheesh, I've been rubbing my right knee all stream.
Oh yeah, I'm cooked. I don't think I can get up out this chair right now, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I
sore today, bro.
Yeah, legitimately cannot get out of my chair.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, this father time thing that they talk about after 35 plus. It's no joke.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man. But yeah, shout out to Commissioner Silver. MSG came through. They did the thing. We did a couple interviews with MSG. We did we shout out to is it No Vig, who's the sponsor of the show. They did a good job. Overall, I thought the production was good. Next year let's get some better jerseys and get some refs. That's all we need to tighten it up. I thought the venue was good. It was good enough. Maybe it's MSG next year, depending on, insurance things and whatever we need to do to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
But
that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be insane.
That would be insane, bro.
But yeah, other than that, man, I thought once the games got started, it was a lot of fun though.
It was a
Has
lot of fun
potential.
for sure.
Has
Yeah.
potential. You already saw Jalen talk about he's showing up next year.
Cap wanted to be there. Cap said, "Don't do this on a
Must have
holiday
tweeted like
weekend."
5 times about it. He
Yeah.
kept complaining about the date.
Yeah, Cap and Josh Hart wanted to be there, but they were doing their 4th of July thing, understandably.
I think they were in Paris.
Yeah, something of that nature. So Cap said, I think he was at the Jersey Shore, something like that. He couldn't make it. So Cap said, next time, make sure that that we do this on a day that he can attend. So Cap wants to be there, and it's unfortunate because Cap, that sweeping lefty hook, man, that was for you, man. That was for the lefties to only the lefties know about that. So that one was for Cap, man.
And I'll say this, shout out to Sean, man, because today we're having, like, this is the creation of that. It's the next day, we're having fun with the highlights. We're talking about the event. It's the entertainment, but also, creating that event. I saw a bunch of posts with Billy and Tony,
Yeah,
and everyone else, Deej, a lot of the fans and supporters posting about, people that they've met from Knicks Twitter for the first time now and creating bonds and spending time together. So, like, not only does this event, create the opportunity to network and to play basketball, but it also create opportunity for people within the community to meet each other and create bonds and relationships. And, like, so it had so many other layered positives, and it took someone to just go ahead and do it and face any criticism and face the music. And like I said, what this means is the next one will be better. And if this goes anywhere, it'll all be, we'll look back and say, oh, we'll have a laugh about this first one, because this, you can only go up from here. So
yeah.
Shout out to Sean and everyone else behind the scenes that helped make this happen, man, because it's something that I always say, like, these experiences, every watch party, every stream, space, everybody that contributes to this, these are all stepping stones to the ultimate goal. Like, when we win this chip, when the New York Knicks win this, all these experiences is what's gonna make it even more special.
Yeah, it's true. That's true, man. Somebody in the chat said, I ain't seen no JD highlights. Man, we started with the JD highlights, man. I'm showing you, man.
Where was you at?
Where was you at? But anyway, man, great job, man. Great job once again by the team. Shout out to Just, the MVP. Shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to Brandon Guest. Shout out to Gio. Gio came all the way up from North Carolina. Tommy Beer, JD, Alex. I think that's the whole squad, man. This one's for everybody, man. This one's for everybody. This one is for KFTV, man. Number one show for the fans, by the fans. Like I said, the champs are here. I told y'all that when we started this tournament, and we reigned supreme. It wasn't pretty, but it was gritty. Hey, let us know your thoughts on these vet minimum options, man. Leave us some comments in the comments section. And that's the damn thing, man. I got to jump on WFAN right now with Lori Rubinson. If you guys want to tap in, check it out on WFAN. 101.9 FM, 660 AM, or the Odyssey app. Fellas, I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Great weekend, man. Great job, man. Real talk. We had a great time. And, yeah, so that's one for the history books, man. Great job, my guys. We out of here. Peace.